There we go. So, good people, great people, God's people. We here, we in, we back, we got it. So, we are on YouTube today. We are also on TikTok today. We are live streaming and live recording the podcast. You know what I'm saying, in word with the podcast. I can't say what it is that I want to say on TikTok, but you know what I'm saying, we getting busy. Good people, great people, God's people. Welcome back. Last week I was on vacation. You know what I'm saying? I was in Tallahassee, Florida. I was getting busy at homecoming. Shout out to Rattlers. Shout out FAMU. You feel me? And yeah, like while I was out there, I took me some time, just relax a little bit, get my things flowing, get my creativity back going. You dig what I'm saying? And I made a couple of decisions while I was out there. The first decision was I'm going to continue doing what it is that I do in the best way that I know how. Right, so I'm going to continue dropping this content for y'all. I'm going to continue giving y'all the content that y'all are looking for. I'm going to continue, mentally masticating on what it is that, and masticate means to chew, you nasty people, but genuinely just looking at how it is that we can continue to improve, as people and as individuals in relationships. So today's topic comes from a conversation that I was having with an amazing woman. We were having conversations around relationships. We were having conversations around expectations. We were having conversations around a multitude of things. But before I get into that, I do want to say once again that everywhere that you all can find me, I need you all to start looking for me in those places, right? So Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, right? Because once again, I got 2 community guidelines violations on TikTok back to back today. 2 back to back. Like, I posted one video and it said I had a community guidelines violation, and TikTok couldn't even remove it fast enough. It said community guidelines violation on the video as it was playing. Like, as soon as I updated it, I got a community guidelines violation. So once again, TikTok is becoming much more stringent in the way that it is that they do their community guidelines violations. And I don't got time for that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we got to go up and we got to move forward. So back to the conversation at hand. I was having a conversation with this woman. And we were once again talking about relationships, expectations, things of that nature. And the topic came up in my mind that, what happened to the conversation around being a gentleman? Like, what happened to this conversation? Sincerely, we as men do not talk about being a gentleman anymore. We don't. People will say, oh, chivalry is dead. I don't believe that chivalry is dead. I believe that the effort is not going matched, right? I believe that we as men have become so entitled to women that we are no longer putting forth the effort to do what it takes in order to obtain women or in order to court women. And the response is usually, oh, well, they putting themselves out there. They da-da-da-da-da, they this, that, and the third. Listen, bro, listen. The reason why I get so irritated with these conversations is because a lot of times I hear men using women not being quote unquote feminine enough as an excuse to not be a man. My friend Guinea, my friend Watts. So what you're saying is that you are utilizing this woman's or women's inability to perform femininity as an excuse for you to no longer be a gentleman. That's a wild concept to me, right? That represents lack of effort in the self. You don't care about how it is that you present to the world. It ain't about women at that point. It's about you, right? So how the conversation came up was that, we were sitting having a conversation, and I told y'all before, like, very rarely do I refer to myself as an alpha male. But the people who are around me know that I am an alpha male. So I don't have to refer to myself that way. That title is usually identified to me. So we're sitting, and she shows me this man who is attempting to engage with her in her DMs. And I laugh, as I usually do, derisively, because you motherfuckers have no tact. You have no decorum. And it dawned on me that this isn't just a lack of decorum, or this isn't just a lack of, knowledge. It's you genuinely not wanting to be gentle. It's you genuinely not being tactful. It's you genuinely not strategizing, at least to a particular degree, about how it is that you are going to engage with this woman. Why? Why do you behave in such... Why do you behave like such a curmudgeon? Right? Why do you believe that this is the way that women are going to respond to you? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Right? So having this conversation about gentlemen, I say to this woman, I say, is this how men approach you often? And she says, more often than not. And I say, goddamn. Because this woman is 20 years, almost 20 years my senior. Right? So I know that this man is at the very least 15 mine. And here I am discussing with this woman who is in your peer group about how it is that you lack basic communication skills. Brother, that is a sad reality. It is a sad reality when a gentleman is an endangered species. That's a sad reality, right? So, Odi, what do you mean when you say gentleman? Gentleman? Well, a man who knows when to be gentle. Very obviously. A man who knows that being brass and crass all the time does not always get you the honey from the beehive, right? It is a man who recognizes that a gentle touch is just as effective as a swinging hammer. But once again, where are the gentle men? Where are the men who understand that tenderness is also what gets you to what it is that you are attempting to get to? Right? So, what do I mean when I say a gentle man? Fellas, question. How do you talk about women? Not how do you talk to them when you are attempting to get some ass. How do you talk about women in your day-to-day organic conversation? Do you talk about them gently? Do you talk about them in such a way where your daughter or your wife or your friend who is a woman would want to claim you? Do you speak about women in such a way where if another woman were to walk past you, you would be ashamed of what it is that you were saying? Or you would feel compelled to dig your heels in and continue saying it in order to save face? A gentleman is a man who understands that the way he does anything is the way that he does everything, including speaking with women and including engaging with children. I find it very interesting that we as black men constantly have conflictual conversations. I find it interesting that we as black men constantly have conflictual conversations. Instead of having conversations of organization, instead of having conversations of solution, we tend to continue to antagonize. We tend to continue to become antagonists. And in my mind, the only reason is because there is a need that we as men are not getting met. But what is that need? Overall, we as black men are asking black women to be more gentle with us. I hear that. I understand that. Are you able to give what it is that you are asking for? Brother, everything does not have to be done hard. You don't have to be hard all the time. I keep trying to explain that. Being hard all the time causes unnecessary friction and it causes unlikely damage or accidental damage, right? So think about it. Imagine if you were playing dodgeball when you were younger and you got the dodgeball and you throw it, but instead of that dodgeball giving when it hits your skin, it keeps that same elasticity at the outset. You are going to have welts and you are going to be in pain. But in order for that ball to not cause you harm, that ball as a physical entity has to yield. That ball as a physical entity has to become less hard. That ball, as a physical entity, was created for the intent of not causing playground damage. The ball was created with the end in mind. Oh, we ain't no ball, we niggas. Okay. Have you taken the time to craft yourself to be more gentle for your children and for your wife? Have you taken the time to craft yourself to be more gentle even for yourself? So let's remove relationship dynamics for a minute, right? Let's remove this idea that we as men have to perform things for other people and not for ourselves. You are not gentle with yourself. We are not gentle with ourselves. So how can we be gentle with women? Takeoff get unalive, blicked out in Houston, and the first thing that we want to do is record it and put it on television or put it on TikTok or put it on Twitter. We are not gentle with ourselves. As black men, we are not gentle with ourselves. As black men, we are not gentle with ourselves, right? We do not take the time to go to the doctor. We do not take the time to sit and listen to our children. We do not take the time to sit and attempt to understand why what is going on in our family is what is going on. Because we believe that everything has to be done hard and fast. We believe everything has to be done in a particular way where we can show that we are being masculine. We got to do everything hard. Right? But then when it comes to man, or when it comes to mano a mano, all of a sudden, oh, no, bro, don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. No, G, absolutely not. This is the type of energy that you're carrying. Therefore, this is the type of energy that you are going to receive in return. This is the energy that you are carrying. Therefore, this is the energy that you are going to receive in return. Right? We as men do not talk about being gentlemen anymore. What do I mean by that? We do not check ourselves, or we do not hold ourselves accountable to the more gentle aspects of masculinity. What do I mean? Fellas, when is the last time you actually sat and thought about how it is that you impact the women around you? Outside of sexual prowess, outside of provision. Right? Fellas, when is the last time you sat and honestly asked yourself, when is the last time I actually listened to a woman when she was holding men accountable? Did I provide a space for her to feel safe? Was I able to put my own bullshit aside in order for me to actually listen to what it is that she's saying? We constantly want to debate. And actually, it's not even a debate, it's an argument. We constantly want to argue. We constantly want to go back and forth. Like, nah, G, sometimes we need to just sit and listen to what these women are saying so that we can have a better understanding of where it is that their needs are not being met from us as men. Right? We as black men have militarized ourselves to such a point where we believe that anything that is gentle, anything that is yielding, anything that allows for us to see a different perspective outside of our own is not masculine. Right? Anything that we do not identify as what it is that we see is not masculine. Brother, that's backwards. That is backwards. Right? A lot of women, especially black women, end up resenting their daughters because we as black men treat those daughters more gentle than we treat our wives. There are a number of black women who end up resenting their daughters because we as black men treat those daughters with more gentleness than we treat our wives. Over time, our daughters begin reminding us too much of their mothers, and we stop treating them gently. Or we are reminded that these daughters are women, and we now have to put them back underneath this oppressive dichotomy of man and woman, or masculine and feminine, or these gender roles. None of these things are gentle. None of them. They all exist within the context of oppression. They all exist within the context of you attempting to control instead of communicate and collaborate. And when you are attempting to control, you are not gentle. You are softly manipulative or aggressively controlling, but you are not gentle. Being gentle requires observation. Being gentle requires awareness. Being gentle requires patience. Being gentle requires active listening. Being gentle requires empathy. Once again, where are the gentle men? Right? Even when we're talking about sensuality and we're talking about sexuality, right? The way in which we as men perceive that dynamic, especially with women, is one that is very much so contextualized by power and dominance. It is very much so a dichotomy of power and dominance. The real reason why a number of women do not reach orgasm is not because men are ill-equipped. It's because men are not patient enough. It's because men have not been taught to be gentle in those areas. They have taught to be ravenous. They are taught to be aggressive. They are taught to be impatient. That type of scene is done when the man is done. It is very pornographic, right? I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and she said something that was extremely profound to me. She said that when I am engaging in sensuality and sexuality, I don't necessarily have to have an orgasm. I can just have a great experience. As a man, that threw me. Immediately, I was like, you're a liar. You're a liar. Right? But at the same time, I recognize that a number of women have had to learn how to become okay with the experience over the orgasm. What a number of men have not caught on to is that the experience leads to the orgasm. The experience leads to the orgasm, right? The experience leads to the outcome. But once again, because we have not been contextualized to believe that these things should be done gently, we are usually at a significant disadvantage, right? So what does that mean? Fellas, us being gentle rests in our ability to see where we are being unnecessarily aggressive. Our ability to be gentle rests in our ability to see how it is that what it is that we're doing impacts our wives and our children. Us being gentle is more easily identified in what it is that we don't do instead of what it is that we do. Right? So let's take another example. There are a number of men who will say, I'm going to wait until this woman shows me X, Y, and Z before I start to treat her more gently, or before I start to treat her with basic human decency. A lot of y'all is real weird. A lot of y'all are real weird. So basically what you're saying is that this woman has to earn her humanity with you. But then y'all hop on these podcasts and y'all mad about the way that it is that women go about engaging with y'all. They engage with y'all because y'all are unsafe to engage with. They engage with y'all that way because they still have needs that they want to have met too. Sexual needs, companionship needs, social needs, what have you. But because once again, you as a man are not gentle enough with yourself to see yourself outside of material or sexual prowess, I firmly believe that there are very few men who actually engage in relationships as their full selves. Because you are not gentle enough with yourself to be your full self when you are by yourself. So how can you ever be vulnerable enough with this woman to be gentle with her? The writing is on the wall. It's in the tea leaves and the proof is in the pudding. We as men are quickly being abandoned by our families. And then we sit and we try to blame everybody else but us. And the reason why we do not blame us, or the reason why we do not talk to us, is because when we do try to talk to us, we believe that in some way, shape, or form, we are somehow entitled to these things because we're men. Right? We are entitled to how it is and what it is that things are supposed to look like in particular situations, including controlling the emotionality of a conversation. If you get too emotional, oh, you trying to you trying to woo woo woo, you trying to bop bop bop, you trying to disrespect me, you trying to once again, you don't even allow people to be gentle with you. Because me responding to you like that out of fear is not gentleness. That's dominion. That is not gentleness. That is not respect. That is fear. That is survival. And too many men have confused fear, respect, and survival with somebody being gentle with them. That's not how that works. If you have to force somebody to be gentle with you, then they are not being gentle of their own volition and will. And too many men want to force women to be gentle with them without learning how to reciprocate that same gentleness. You are angry, you are upset because you are lacking that gentle companionship. But once again, are you a gentle man? How do you talk about emotions? How do you talk about sickness? How do you talk about trouble? How do you talk about despair? How do you approach things that you do not understand? How do you engage with things that you know or you feel are beneath you? Do you have humility? Do you have grace? Because if not, then we understand why it is where you are. If you do not, even if you have some level of companionship, your companionship can be greatly improved. That woman has just not found the words to say it to you yet. Because if we really want to keep it a lean bean, too many of us as men are lost in the sauce of performing masculinity instead of actually being men. And being a man, sincerely, means doing what it is that's necessary in order to achieve an outcome that is beneficial for the community. But as soon as I say something like that, it's, people don't want to listen. People don't want to follow me. People don't want to submit to me, because you're out here moving childishly. You are out here screaming for somebody to console you because the world continues to beat you up. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but do you know how to self-soothe? Do you know how to console yourself? As a black man, do you recognize that the world does not only just beat up on you? Do you know how to be a place of refuge for a black woman? Because if you do not, then you do not know the first thing about being a leader. You do not know the second thing about being gentle. And you do not know the third thing about empathy. So please do not talk to me about what black women do not do, because you are not doing something yourself. So once again, have we taken the time to facilitate what a gentle man looks like? I was reading, it was either We Real Cool or some other Bell Hooks book. I don't remember which one it is. They all starting to blend together to me now because it's great. But I think it was Real Cool. And in the book, she asked, what if we were to raise men as healers instead of warriors? What would the world look like? If we were to raise black men as not only just warriors, but healers, what would the world look like? And I said, I wonder the same thing. Do we raise black boys to be gentle with themselves? Are we really gentle with black boys? I did not say coddle. I said, are we gentle with them? Do we allow them the space to express their emotions? Do we allow them the space? And when I say we, I mean black men. I'm not talking about black women right now. I'm talking about us, right? I'm talking about the men who are supposed to be raising these boys into men. How is it that this is also what I mean when I say gentle. You don't think about what you say before you say it. How is it that you are upset with black women for not raising black boys appropriately and then turn around and say black men are the only people who can raise black boys? Black women oftentimes are shielding black boys away from black men because black women recognize that black men are operating in a toxically masculine space. That is what's usually going on. Black women are attempting to save their sons from the toxic masculinity that too often black men grow into, and we as black men do not stop and think about how it is that we are killing ourselves spiritually, how we are killing ourselves from the soul before we even get to the age of 16. You can't do that, you a man. You can't do X, Y, and Z, you a man. You can't da-da-da-da-da, you a man. You ain't supposed to do that, you a man. And then we wonder why things are happening in the hip-hop community where we losing soldiers every day. We wonder why these young black boys between the ages of 12 and 14 is dumping 20 bullets in somebody's house, shooting kids outside of schools. Why? They chasing masculinity. And you can say what you want to say. They chasing masculinity. Where is our responsibility in creating the gentleness in our communities? Where is our accountability? Oh, that ain't my son. He need to go find it. I hate that. I hate when black men talk in spaces of excuse and lack of accountability. It makes me cringe. We are better than that. We are better than that. But once again, we feel like we got to come in swinging hammers and shooting pistols in order for us to actually get things done. No. Once again, do you know what it means to be a gentle man? Do you know what it means to have a 16-year-old, 17-year-old boy come up to you ready to fight, and then you talk to him for 10 minutes and now he is in tears because all that boy needed was a goddamn hug? Black men, most of us have not been treated gently in this world. We have not. That does not mean that we are justified in treating other people like shit. And too often, we treat our women like shit and we treat our children like shit. Entirely too often. Oh no, but what about the mothers, brother? If you bring up somebody else's mama one more time, that is a deflection. What about you? What about what it is that you've done? What about what it is that you have not done? But the reason why black men run away from that conversation so much, I'm going to tell y'all why, is because we feel like we are being blamed for everything that has happened in the black community. We are not speaking gently with one another. We are not approaching this conversation with black men gently. We are not. We are approaching it with blame. We are approaching it with reproach. Right? Even amongst one another, even within myself, I am not very gentle with my gender cohort, but it's because once again, we do not have these conversations gently. I get so tired of black men in my comments coming at me sideways because I'm talking about y'all need to be accountable for your bullshit. And I say it in the gentlest way that I know how. But the reality of the situation is we are dying because we are allowing ourselves to die. We are dying because we are not teaching our sons, our peers, our godsons, the kids in our communities, how to be the men in our communities, the boys in our communities, how to be more gentle, how to approach things in such a way where you have common sense and decency. Why? You know what? I was at homecoming, right? And we in the back, you know what I'm saying? Over there by the vendors behind Bragg, you know, the hood part, right? We back there. 3 things happened in sequence. 1, it was a stallion of a woman, you feel what I'm saying? She's about 5'10", you feel me? She had that 34, 28, like 36 going on. Baby was stacked, you hear me? I'm like, ooh, you feel me? How you doing, little baby? You dig what I'm saying? So shorty was with it. She almost falls. All of that goes out of my mind. I'm just trying to make sure that she don't hit the ground and embarrass herself. You dig what I'm saying? I just want to make sure that she good. So in my haste to make sure that this beautiful black woman does not fall, right? I spilled my drink on, you know what I'm saying, somebody granny. So after I made sure that this black woman was okay, I give my drink back to my homeboy. I said, my boy, hold on to this for me. I turn back to the granny. I say, excuse me, ma'am. I seem to have spilled my beverage on your backpack. Here, I got my fat boy towel in my pocket. Let me wipe it off, right? So I get through wiping off her book bag. And, you know, we sit and we parlay for a moment. She say, baby, thank you so very much. It is a rare sight to see a man who does things the way that you do. And I say, mama, thank you so very kindly. It's just the way that I was raised. I'm not about to sit here and allow things to transpire in such a way and not, you know what I'm saying, intervene in the best way that I know how. Right? And she say, baby, thank you. So where you from? What's your name? I say, ma'am, my name is Odi. And I'm from Chicago, Illinois. She said, you from Chicago? We definitely don't got a lot of y'all. I say, mama, thank you so much. And it warmed my heart. And it warmed my heart because she's right. Right? I was talking to my mother about how it is that my grandfather perceived me when I was a young boy. And my grandfather said to my mother, I do not understand why these men, and when he was saying these men, he was actually talking about the generation above us. So he was talking about my daddy them generation, right? He was talking about Gen X. I do not understand why these men, all they think they need to do is go to work, get paid, and come home. I don't get it. As a man, that's what you're supposed to do. You need to do more than just work. So what he said about me as his grandson, he said he needs to be more than just smart. And to this day, I stand on what it is that I say. The reason why a lot of y'all as black men do not get the best out of black women is because you do not put the best into them. Because even with the black women who did not give me what it is that I was looking for, they tried their best. They tried their best. And I know that they tried their best. The reason being is because it's me. And I know what I'm coming with. I know what I bring to the table. But once again, as a gentleman, I don't feel like I have to beat on my chest to say that this is what I'm bringing to the table. I don't feel like I have to ask. Because the table that I'm sitting these women at compels them to bring something to eat. And the way in which I decorate my table, the way in which I create my environment makes them want to unwind and to contribute something to the feast. So once again, brother, are you being a gentleman? Are you mindfully and intentionally constructing your environment where this woman can come and feel as if though she wants to give you something? Where this woman can come in this environment and feel safe and secure enough to want to multiply and build with you. A lot of y'all as men, a lot of us as black men get what we get from black women because that black woman perceives you as unsafe, whether it be physically, sexually, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. I keep trying to tell y'all, a lot of y'all is only out here good enough for dick. Y'all are not husband material. Y'all are not boyfriend material. Y'all are not even good link material. You're not even good friends with benefits material. But once again, because y'all so lost in the sauce of toxic masculinity and patriarchy, y'all think y'all winning. You are so non-gentle with yourself that you cannot even see when a woman is not being gentle with you. And so you continue to take that on because you believe that as a man, that's what you're supposed to do. That's the reason why so many of y'all really upset with black women. Y'all are choosing partners that they themselves internalize toxic masculinity and patriarchy, and they weaponize those things against y'all when y'all get into it. But once again, because you are not gentle enough with yourself to admit that the way that it is that you think is damaging to you, you just go and you look for another partner. Okay, my friend continued to do that. All women are manipulative. All women are violent. All women, okay. Are you gentle enough with yourself to talk about that out loud? Are you gentle enough to share your story with the masses? Or are you going to sit and are you going to attempt to blame women while at the same time validating yourself? No, stop blaming women. Stop blaming women and describe that woman. It's a multitude of partners that I had that behaved like absolute basura. There's one partner right now, or a previous partner right now. I have no desire to talk to that woman at all. Why? Because I finally reached my point where I was like, I'm not going to sit here and continue to allow you to do intentionally manipulative and intentionally harmful things simply because you feel as if though you're justified or you can get away with it. Fuck you. And the reality of the situation is a lot of us as men are not gentle enough with ourselves to give ourselves that space to say we deserve more than what some of these women are giving us. Right? But once again, are you a gentle enough man to even come to the conclusion that this woman is behaving this way because that's just who she is? A lot of you all as men are not gentle enough to make the determination that this woman is as ain't shit as y'all try to make them out to be. Because the reality of the situation is a lot of us as men have been taught that women actually want more than what it is that they actually want. And what I mean by that is that we as men tend to become attracted to the societal perception of women instead of real women. Oh, all these women want is money. All these women want da 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 da. Y'all sound like the uncles and fathers that y'all have that are not married. Right? And to keep it a lean bean, the reason why those narratives exist is because the laws that men created forced women into those positions. Now they are no longer in these positions. What money do they want from you? I've had a myriad of conversations with a multitude of women. Most women do not want money. They want stability. And the money represents stability. A number of women do not want all of your time. They just want quality time. A number of women don't want your entire body or your entire person. They just want you to share yourself with them. But once again, we as men are not gentle enough to navigate these spaces where we are saying or we are asserting what it is that we need as well. Because as soon as we get into conflict, our immediate conflict resolution skill dynamic is to become aggressive. And that's the reason why so many of us exist in these contemptuous relationships. Because as soon as your feelings get hurt, you immediately want to become aggressive. Right? You immediately want to get the popping off. You immediately, you're not going to talk to me. Who the fuck did it? Bro, chill out. And notice how I did not say nonchalant. I said, chill out. There have been a myriad of times where I said to a woman straight up, hey, I understand and I validate your emotions, but you will not continue to talk to me like that. Check yourself. Otherwise, this conversation gonna get real ugly real fast. And I'm not saying that to threaten. I'm saying that because I know myself with enough emotional intelligence to recognize where my boundary is. But once again, the first thing I said was, I can validate your emotions and I understand where it is you're coming from, but you will not continue to talk to me like that. Fix yourself. Because if I can maintain myself to a particular degree to not cause you inadvertent harm, then I expect and demand the same thing from you. Otherwise, you can get the fuck out my house. You believe that you are irreplaceable, and I will show you the exact opposite. There are thousands of women who behave the same way you do. I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. I put a little edge on it because I'm irritated and I'm upset. But the reality of the situation is I'm entitled to that and I'm justified in that. But once again, I'm still being as gentle as I possibly can and communicating that I'm going to become less gentle because I feel like I'm not being gentled with. Yeah, I say that I'm not being gentled with. I shared what I shared. I meant what I said. You feel me? But once again, are you as a man able to reciprocate that gentleness that you are looking for? Do you take the time to just sit and talk and listen and engage? When is the last time you rubbed a woman's feet, brother? When is the last time a woman broke down around you and you just gave her a hug? When is the last time you massaged a woman's temples without looking for sex? When is the last time you were truly intimate with a woman? When is the last time you treated a woman like a woman without this idea that she has to somehow earn human decency? Do you know where that comes from? That comes from slavery, and that comes from white supremacy. You are literally dangling this woman's humanity over her head in order for her to behave the way that you want her to behave. That's not being gentle. Fellas, listen to me. Listen to me. Being gentle, gentleness is just as effective as assertiveness. It is just as effective as being hard. It is just as effective as you raising your voice. You just have to understand where to place it. You have to understand your timing. But brother, if you are not a gentle man, please stop expecting people to be gentle with you, because that is hypocritical, that is piss poor, and that is out of pocket. But good people, great people, God's people, we have come to the end of this podcast recording, right? We have come to the end of this particular episode. Now, for my good people, great people, and God's people, once again, I might come back to TikTok and, you know what I'm saying, do the live recordings on TikTok as I usually was, right? If TikTok stopped being on that ridiculous nonsense. But I still invite you all to come follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? The whole you dig. Also, really quick updates, good people. My brand is completely launched, right? Black Wealth, www.blackwealth.com. And the purpose of my brand is to show you all intergenerational money trauma so that we can get us to generational wealth, right? Black Wealth stands for Black Life Knows, Love, and Understands Value. I'm sorry, that was my old John. That was Black Love. Black Wealth, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but the flagship program is called Mindful Finance. And I've been kicking Mindful Finance for the last couple of weeks, and we're going to keep kicking it. Mindful Finance is a course that is designed specifically for us as Black people, by Black people. I am the primary designer of the course. This was a course that was designed at Florida Agricultural Mechanical University for the benefit of low-income individuals who existed and who lived within that community, within that live and learn in collegiate community. The purpose of the course overall, once again, is to, one, help you identify intergenerational money trauma, and two, place you in environments and in rooms with people who can help you build generational wealth. Right now, on my team, on my affiliate team, I have people who are credit experts. I have people who are experts in real estate. I have people who are experts in business funding. I have people who are experts in automation. So once again, if you all are interested in this program, if you go into my bio on TikTok, you can click and you can join the free webinar. I do webinars every month talking about what the program is. If you follow me on Instagram, you can go into my link tree and you can click on any one of those links that say mindful finance or study group, and it will show you what is going on in the group, how the group is being presented, and what ultimately can be done within the space of mindful finance. So once again, good people, great people, God's people. I enjoy y'all spending this time with me. And yeah, until next time, peace, love, soul, and butter rolls. We out.